Hello, hello. Welcome back to another video. I hope you all are doing well and enjoying this new winter season. I'm definitely getting very cozy and settling into the winter months, but that also means a lot more writing, and I have been on a really good track with my book. I am writing my first book. It is a romantasy novel, and I'm just super excited about where it's headed. I have shared a little bit about my journey that I finished the rough draft of this book after over a decade of having the idea for this story and not being able to write it. Writer's block. It was really bad. And I finally finished the rough draft, and now I am writing the first draft, and oh my gosh, it feels like a totally different book. It's still the same story and characters, but writing that rough draft and just kind of pushing it out freed up so much space for new ideas to come in for this book, and it's just so amazing. And I've really learned a lot on my writing journey, and so I wanted to share that with you today and encourage you. If you are a woman who is wanting to write her first book, I would like to support you in that. I think it kind of goes back to um, feminine and masculine energy. So I studied creative writing in college. I always knew I wanted to be a writer. And so I studied creative writing and communications at UW here in Seattle, University of Washington. And I did not write a book after I graduated. I tried to many times. I started many drafts, and instead I worked in corporate jobs. I worked as a copywriter for a long time at some of the big tech companies here that we have in Seattle, and did marketing, copywriting, technical writing, but I never did creative writing, which was what I really wanted to do. Then I kind of wanted to get a little bit closer to the world of books and publishing and creative writing because that was what I always wanted to do. So I went and got certified as an editor, and I started my first business. After that, I worked as a freelance editor, and I edited many people's books, creative books, as well as nonfiction. And so I did that for a while. But still, I didn't write my own book. I helped other people write their books, but I didn't write my own. And during all these years of working and kind of dancing around what I wanted to do, I had so many ideas, so many stories, started a lot of different drafts. I was even in writers groups. I was really connected to other writers and seeing what other authors were doing with their careers. But there was a block there for me. And so fast forward, I learned about feminine energy. I started seeing videos come up on YouTube and books. And I had already been, into personal development and learning about manifestation and law of attraction, and paired that with my own faith as a Christian. And I have always been a spiritual person, a creative person, imaginative. And so learning about feminine energy, masculine energy was just a whole new world for me, and it was so exciting, and I just dove in. And so I really learned a lot through that, and it helped me to attract my now husband, who is just the most amazing amazing guy, and totally a masculine energy, healthy masculine energy man, provider. And I also learned so much through the process of our relationship and getting married. So I'm saying all of this to share that through all of that, I still never wrote a book. That was something that really bothered me because I have always had this dream of being an author and publishing books and writing stories and using this gift and sharing it with the world, and ideally making money from it too. Like, that is what I wanted to do with my life. I truly believe now that everything happened in the right timing for me, that I needed to learn all of those lessons, all those life lessons, in order to get to the point where I am now. However, if I had learned some of these lessons sooner, I would have been able to write who knows how many books by now. But the point is that in order to go to your next level, if you are a woman who has this desire to write a book, which I know that you are, and if you've had it for a while, which I know that you have, then you need to think, like, what is on the other side of that? And that's exactly the inner work that I help you to do with my coaching, but also that I do for myself. And a big part of unlocking your next level in life is by walking down the paths that God is calling you towards, that your heart is calling you towards. And so applying feminine energy and everything I learned about just inner work, I have applied to writing, and that is what enabled me to overcome the writer's block and to write my book. How does feminine energy work, inner work, personal development, how does all of that apply to writing a book? And what does writing a book have to do with becoming your dream woman and going to the next level in your life? Well, I think it has everything to do with that. Some of the big lessons that I learned from overcoming writer's block and how it applies to how I've grown as a woman and how you can grow as a woman. First of all, I think having a very all or nothing mindset is not going to serve you. And all or nothing for me looked like I need to have this same trajectory as this best-selling author, or I need to write the same kind of style and genre of books as this woman because she had this result and I want that result. I need to write this many books in this time frame and publish them this way, and it needs to follow this pattern. No. The comparison is very real for everyone, for creators, but especially for writers, especially for new writers, and especially for women. I think we really look to other people and kind of use that as like our measure of how to move in life. But that all or nothing mindset of how it's supposed to look, how writing a book is supposed to go, really held me back, and it kept me really trapped in rigid thinking. And part of feminine energy is being in flow. It's being able to release control and to receive and to have that softness, have that yielding kind of like submitting energy, which I know that submission word kind of can have some negative connotations, but the way that I mean it right now, when it comes to your writing, is just writing a book for you and me. I'm not talking about the people out there that, seemingly do it effortlessly, perfectly in their sleep, and they've written 100 books in 10 days. That's not what we're trying to compare ourselves to or even emulate. I have realized that truly, like, God was asking me to write a book, not to be that person who's writing 100 books in 10 days. That's not me. I believe that there is a inner work journey, a transformation, life lessons that come from the process of letting yourself write a book and allowing the story to come through, being devoted to the process, submitting to the journey of writing a book, and being able to relax, to trust and have faith. Trust is a huge part of feminine energy, just in the same way that when we're healthy, in a healthy relationship, you trust your man. The masculine energy is there to support and hold you. And therefore, we are able to trust and relax and relinquish that control, knowing we're safe. It applies to writing a book as well, because if you can't let yourself relax and trust that the story is coming through you, you are meant to write, then you're not going to be able to continue, honestly. I've talked about in a past video about embracing the messiness of the creation process, and that is part of like that raw, wild woman energy. Accept the messiness of birthing a book, of creating this story and bringing it to life. That process is not going to be super clean, tidy, organized, just flawless. That's not even the point. It's all part of your transformation journey if you let it be, if you allow it to be. And I think writing a book is one of the best ways to do that. If you have that nudge in your soul to write a book, then that's your sign. That is all you need to know that you are meant to write a book. And don't doubt it. Don't keep doubting yourself. I know it's easy to say that, and that doesn't mean that doubt thoughts won't come. I'm saying don't keep doubting the fact that you are meant to write a book. You are meant to write a book. I'll tell you that you are meant to write a book. It's about letting yourself be transformed, letting it have a ripple effect in your life, letting this process expand you and transform you. It is very much masculine energy to be outcome focused, outcome oriented, and I was very guilty of this in the past when it came to my writing. I really believed that if I just did XYZ, did what all these other writers were doing, then I would be the next J.K. Rowling billionaire writer. And that, no. No, that does not work. That did not work for me. One, that's a crazy amount of pressure to put on yourself when you've never written a book. And two, that's not the point of writing. Money, success, all of that, you get to have that. That is not the only reason why you are desiring to write. And the truth is, you don't know the full picture, the full reason of why you want to write a book. It doesn't have to be this grand thing, but inevitably along the process, you are going to change and grow because you can't avoid it. So, making writing your first book part of your vibrant, full, juicy life that you're creating, because I know that you want that in every area, not just being a shell of a person, being a starving artist, pulling like who is it, Hemingway? We're not doing this in an unhealthy way. There's times for focusing in and channeling your energy into it and making bold moves with your writing. But we're not doing it at the expense of your health, your wealth, your relationships, your life. Writing gets to be a part of your journey to being your dream woman. I truly believe that, and that has been true for me. When we are tapping into that healthy feminine energy with writing is being submitted to the process. What does that mean? What does that look like? When I think about being super outcome oriented and in my masculine energy, all I'm thinking about is the finished book, is the end, right? The end goal. When you're in that feminine energy and you just surrender, just that beautiful surrender to the process, that's when you actually write the book. To have a book, you need to create the book and you need to surrender to the process of writing. Writing is a practice, it is a creation, but if you're writing a book and you're writing your first book, then we need to create space in your life for that book to come through, to grow, and for you to also engage in that process. I keep thinking of like being pregnant, and I do think that is such like a great metaphor because it's so feminine, and so I don't have any kids, but I do think that is a really apt metaphor for writing a book and giving birth to your first story. My hope and goal is to write many books after this first one, but I can't only stay mentally thinking about that if I want to get to finishing one book, right? Like that's almost like keeping yourself stuck by just being like, no, I'm only gonna, think about that end goal part, but not actually be in the process of what it takes to get there. In order to create and flow, there's a certain amount of presence that you need to bring. And to be present, you need to be not in the past and not worrying about the future. And that takes nervous system control, that takes relaxation, that takes not being in survival mode and feeling safe. I'm guessing that you are a woman who has gotten things done in her life. You've made money, you've had the career, you've created the relationship or the marriage, you've had your children, you've overcome difficulties, trials, you've done inner work, you've had to do a lot, you've had to learn new skills. This is just another layer of your journey. It's easy to think that, writing a book is just like a dream, or it's not really as important as these things in my life, but you know that it is, or else you wouldn't be here. You know that it is, because what is on the other side of writing that book, you won't know until you allow yourself to surrender to the process, because there are things that you need to learn, that you need to do along the way. So surrendering to the process is very feminine. Allowing yourself to really experience that fully and to hold it. I never realized how much of an issue I had with this and how difficult it would be for me, because for the longest time I was like, yeah, I want to be a writer. I want to write books. Like, I know that that's what I want to do. And yet the act of writing a book, a story, I don't even care how long your book is. It could be like a novella, or it could be a 300,000 word crazy sci-fi novel. It doesn't matter like how long the book itself is. It's about being able to train your nervous system to be in the creation process and to be able to sit and write. And I know that sounds so maybe obvious or simple, but that truly unlocked everything for me. It unlocked everything. My ego was keeping me from doing that inner work, and it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable. And that's what is involved with growing and going to the next level, is being able to expand your capacity for discomfort until it's not uncomfortable anymore, or you can handle it. To create room in your life for whatever your next level desire is, whatever your next level identity is, you need to make space, right? And I truly believe that if you are sitting on your desire to write, if you're holding in those ideas for a story, a book, if you are not writing at all those things, they become stuck energy, which is just crazy to think about, like how true this was for me. I always had this feeling of, there's like more that I want, and just like this frustration and agitation and irritation. And I realized like it was all this creative energy, beautiful creative energy, that I was suppressing and that I wasn't allowing to move out. Because that's truly, like, especially as women, we have this like creative power and energy. If you are holding that down, of course it's going to affect your life. It might come through in health issues. It might come through in relationship issues, confidence issues, money issues. I've experienced all of those. And I truly believe that like there is so much power in moving out stagnant energy. It's more about moving and releasing them and just seeing what comes through, seeing what new comes through, because I can pretty much guarantee that you will have new ideas, new downloads, better ideas once you start writing, once you start moving out that stuck creative energy and just practice being in flow of creating, of writing. I love that writing, storytelling, telling stories is such a feminine thing. It's how we used to communicate and share lessons and wisdom with each other, how we would teach our sisters and daughters and friends, and how women would connect with one another. And so it's so beautiful that you want to write and that you have had this desire. The only way to really get to that next level and become more of that dream woman is for you to write, and is for you to move that creative energy and embrace the fear that comes with it. I know that there's a lot of inner work that goes into writing a book. That is why we are here, and that is why I am here, because I have learned so much, and I will always be learning so much, because God is always teaching me things. The other thing I experienced was too much flow and not enough structure. Feminine energy is the flow, masculine energy is the structure, and you need both. Creating something requires masculine and feminine energy. I definitely went a little too much into the feminine and kind of lost some of the masculine when I was in my creative flow, because it just felt so good to write and to let myself create. But if you don't have structure, if you don't have a container, then it kind of feels like you're going nowhere, right? You're not actually accomplishing those goals. And I do want to make it clear that just because we're not like being attached to the outcome or outcome focused doesn't mean we don't want to have goals, doesn't mean that we don't have big, bold dreams for our writing and for our lives. Those are amazing, and I am a very motivated, ambitious person. I dream big, I have big desires, and I am trying to make room for those things to come into my life by doing this, by creating and following this dream. And I believe that that is the way to bring those manifestations into my life is by doing this, by writing a book. And I don't know what is coming after that, but I just know that I need to write and finish my book. That's the stage in the process I am in. That's the submission, the feminine energy to allowing myself to be, trusting that all that other stuff that I'm thinking about and wanting, God's got it. God is taking care of that. And I don't need to be constantly like, is that going to happen for me? You need to have presence and be grounded and be able to flow with what it is that is alive for you to create right now. We want to have some structure. And if you are writing your first book and you're not super experienced with it, that's also a lesson that you're going to have to learn as you write. I always resisted having an outline. I always said that I was a pantser. If you're in the writing community, you know what that is. There's pantsers who just write by the seat of their pants, and then plotters. But I learned through this process that it's okay to have an outline. It's okay to have structure. It's very helpful to have structure with your time. How are you planning out your writing sessions? Are you making sure that you protect that time to write? Are you showing up for those sessions, or are you letting other things come in the way? If you want to write a book, you will need to develop really good, healthy boundaries around your writing time. And that in itself is a skill. That in itself is inner work. Being married, having a dog, having a house, having my husband's business, and having all our friends and family and travels and working out. I don't even have kids yet. You can write no matter what, and you can create no matter what. It's just what you believe. You can always find a reason to do something or not to do something. And if you want me to talk more about that, I definitely can. But going back to the masculine energy, we need structure around our writing time. We need to protect that. And so creating that protective shell around our storytelling, around our writing, allows that inner feminine energy to feel safe, to relax. She knows she's good, she's protected. So then she can flow, she can move, and you need both those things in order to create the book. So I'm gonna wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with me. I just want to leave you with encouragement. You can do this. Your intuition telling you that you want to write a book is the voice that you need to listen to. And if you give yourself permission to take those steps and to write this book, it's going to unlock a completely new identity for you and shift you into that next level of your life and open you up to new desires, new ideas, new levels, and help you just to experience an even more full and vibrant and juicy life as the beautiful storytelling queen that you are. If you want me to go into any of these topics more, I'm happy to do so. So just let me know in the comments below. If you would like to invest in yourself further, I will leave the links below for coaching and write with me sessions, and I would love to do that with you. That would be an amazing step for you to take on your writing journey before the new year. Thank you so much for watching. I love making these videos, and I just really appreciate you being here and appreciate that you are taking these steps to write your book. It requires so much faith and so much belief, but as we go on this journey together, I just see such big things happening for you. I feel like it's just the start of something amazing and huge and so wonderful. And I can't wait to read your story. I can't wait to read your words and share our beautiful gift of writing with each other, because what could be more amazing? I just love it. I love when I go to the bookstore and I see all these books that people are writing, and it's so easy to just look at yourself where you are now and feel like, wow, I have so long to go to ever see my book on the shelf of the bookstore. But that's where you're heading if you say yes to yourself now. And we don't know all the steps. If you move in faith and you grow stronger in that faith and your creativity and your intuition and belief in yourself, only more can come. Only more of that can come. And so I just want to empower you, because I know that you can do this if you start to heal your masculine and feminine and do the inner work to get there. Invest in yourself. Take that leap of faith, because nothing is going to come to you if you stay exactly the same, doing things the same way you have been. You have to step out and you have to invest in yourself with time, with money, with inner work, with energy, with sitting down and writing that story that has been on your heart. So I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.